Hey guys, it's Steak Sauce here from the Off the Grill podcast. Come on in. We're talking horror. Obviously, this would be the part here where if I had any real talent, I would throw in an opening and then come back to me sitting here ready to chat with you. But I suck. You know this. I know this. Let's move past it. Um, yeah, Night of the Living Dead. I really do suck, don't I? Nightmare on Elm Street 3 is one of my earliest memories as a horror fan. It's one of the first movies, probably the first movie that I can remember, renting the tape, bringing it home, ordering a pizza, kind of doing one of those, it's like a sleepover in the living room type of deals. And that certainly helped it to endure, but it's just a terrific movie from start to finish, despite what some people that hear voices might say. Short little New Jerseyans. Now, oh, jeez, what happened? I don't know. Something happened for sure, but I'll never tell. But it's a movie that I think the script is pretty great. It definitely moved the franchise along. And despite what a lot of people say, I don't think that they ruined the Freddy character in this one. Now, to be sure, they did set him up to be ruined, in future sequels. But that is another topic for another time. Looking at my notes, guys. See, I'm not going to try to fucking really trick you too much. You know what this is. You know how fucking much I ramble, okay? Sorry. I'm just bad at this. I really am. I need a nice little cheat sheet to remember shit, because otherwise I'll be annoyed that I didn't talk about something. Just rapping with you guys, I'm about to turn this chair around, really just lean on the back of it. But the characters in this are terrific, from Kristen Parker to Kincaid and Joey, Taryn, the love of my life, Will in the wheelchair. They're all terrific. I mean, and who could forget, one of Lawrence Fishburne's breakout roles, I think, post Pee-wee's Playhouse anyway. I'm probably totally wrong on that. Don't give me shit. Actually, matter of fact, give me all the shit you want down in the comments below. But I think this is, for as small as it is, it might be my favorite Lawrence, or Larry as his friends call him. I'm not a friend of his. I'll continue to call him Lawrence. I do apologize, Mr. Fishburne. For as small as his role in this movie is, I do think it's definitely high up there on my list of his favorite roles. He's just so cool, calm and collected. Didn't want to have to say that. That's embarrassing. But I think all of the teen characters, most of the rest of them, like you give a shit what happens to them. It is kind of like a small tragedy when any of them die. I think about the only completely unlikable character in the movie is the lead female doctor, Dr. Sims. And if you really think about it, she is, trying to do her best, to look after these kids. That clearly some shit has happened, but like parents, man, she just doesn't understand. Now that being said, as much as the characters, you like them and you don't want to see them die, when they die, it's absolutely glorious. I mean, from the kind of the marionette tendon scene, which might have to take the cake for kill of the movie, um, to welcome to prime time, bitch. Which is, again, one, like as I said, one of the scenes that people talk about when they, when they kind of they try to trash this movie for ruining Freddy. If you look at it, man, it's all that line is delivered with anger. He's not being a wacky prankster, like. So I definitely don't think that's a win for those guys when they bring that up, for the detractors of the movie when they bring that up. I do have to laugh though at that scene. I mean, it's a great scene. It's a great kill. Everything looks terrific on it, but it's immediately ruled a suicide. And like, who would? It's kind of like, well, who would argue that it's not suicide? I mean, come on. Her head went to the TV and she's hanging there. She's clearly like a foot and a half, 2 feet off the ground, and there's no chair in sight. Of course, this was suicide. But yeah, I think as a whole, this movie pushed the franchise in the right direction. As I said, it doesn't make him Freddy. It doesn't make Freddy Krueger unscary. It doesn't make him the wacky jokester. It does push that kind of line as far as it'll go, but he doesn't step over it in this one. Now, subsequent sequels do take that way over the line. Well, before walking over it, they have a dog piss fire onto it. But how can you say? There's no one that could argue that the character doesn't kind of fall into a tailspin in the later sequels. But this one's perfect. It's just as well made. It's probably better made than the second one, which I also love. I love the series. I'm not going to keep, I love this one and I love this one. Even Freddy's Dead that I'm not fond of, I love. But it's probably more well made simply from the fact that it's maybe not better written than the first, but it's better made. They had more money, more time, better cast. And as far as kills go, we do have to talk about Taron and Freddy. I think that scene, the let's get high, the scene with the hypodermic needles going into the the sucking wounds, the little mouths there was great. Unfortunately, watching Never Sleep Again informs you that there was supposed to be kind of like a head explosion for Taron, but it never worked, the special effect, so they had to cut it out. Listening to some of the interviews that Chuck Russell and Frank Darabont gave on the DVD set, the original DVD set from '99, they're under pretty big time crunch. Russell was a first-time director as well, which led to a lot of problems with him not knowing really how to speak to the staff, which I think is one of the key reasons Patricia Arquette really doesn't talk about this movie to anyone, which is a shame because I'd love to hear her, good or bad, I'd love to hear her talk about this movie. Speaking of her, Kristen Parker, it's an incredible shame that she wasn't available for the next sequel, because I think that would have, just her presence alone would have helped that movie feel a little more like a sequel first off. And cause it does feel like, even though the Kristen character was in the next one, without Patricia Arquette there, it feels just incomplete. Like she just kind of got thrown to the side, And the survivors of this movie, did still, even though, Joey and Kincaid appear, they still did get kind of thrown to the side and just summarily. All right, yeah, we got them next, which is a bummer because these guys were so strong. They were the Dream Warriors in this one. They a bunch of ain't shit motherfuckers in the next sequel. It's it's pretty disrespectful to the writing of this movie, to the characters of this movie. What are you gonna do? Another character. Obviously, we got to talk about the return of John Saxon and Heather Langenkamp as Nancy and Don Thompson, respectively. I think it switched it around, but like I said, man, I'm stupid. Leave me alone. It was great to kind of have those guys come back to tie this sequel back to the first one directly without it just being Freddy again. I mean, not that you always need to do that, but it's nice to have that little bit, that line of continuity, which they did try to do from this one to the fourth one with Kristen, Kincaid, and Joey. I'll be without Patricia Arquette, as I said. I'm going to try to get off of that now. I do have to say, though, I like the kind of disintegration of John Saxon's character. He goes from lieutenant down to basically just like some pissant security guard. He's kind of become a drunk on top of that. It hints at, kind of failing, feeling like, I guess, the guilt of the posse, killing Freddy initially, Freddy in his human form, kind of getting to him, as well as his wife dying, even though they were separated. All that kind of, it's interesting. It's kind of layered, and it's not kind of beat on the head like, another movie potentially would have. And with that, Heather Langenkamp coming back to the series as Nancy Thompson. They've added layers to her character as well. Obviously, she was able to defeat Freddy in the first one. Went off to college to become a doctor in 3 years. So, that kind of kicks this franchise fucking right in the dick when it comes to the timeline, so our years, don't kind of line up. I still think they keep everything in line a lot more than the Friday series does, continuity-wise. But clearly, if you think about 84, she was in high school. I don't even think really she was a senior then. I think she was supposed to be 15. So when is that? That would make her a sophomore, I suppose, or freshman. One of the two. So, she was still a couple years out from graduating high school, let alone going to college to be able to even be whatever kind of assistant to, whatever studying she did. To be the assistant to Craig Wassan's character, Neil. But, regardless of that, it's great to see her there. So, like I said, even though the timeline's kind of screwed up, and it kind of, when you take all that into account, it does make it a few more years in reality, or in the movie timeline than in reality. It's nice to see that she kind of she came back, she overcame Freddy, and now she's ready to be a dream warrior without being a dream warrior. That's something they seem like she didn't know about, but came into and found these guys just because, she came back to Springwood to kind of see how things were and realize they were shit. So she's trying to fight him and end him for good. Unfortunately, I don't know if it's, I don't know when just the 10 of us was on the air, but Heather's acting's real hit or miss in this one. Like some scenes she's perfect, and other scenes she's I'm really interested in this. Which again probably lends to Chuck Russell being a first-time director, not knowing one, how to speak to the cast, which they say he was kind of a dick the whole time, but not knowing how to get a better performance out of her. Not that she was horrible by any means, but a little rigid, a little kind of wooden. Comes from me, the master thespian. Acting! So you have Nan Martin as Amanda Kruger / sister Mary Helena. It's a great character. She did a lot to kind of move the plot along without. Again, this film was written really well, in my opinion. But I mean, she did a lot to kind of move the plot along, all of that exposition without sounding too much like just, no, this is what you have to do. It's a shame Sister Mary Helena left the cloth, though, to marry into a retail magnate's family, kind of make Drew Carey's life hell. Again, that's another story for another time, I suppose. What else? Oh, how the hell can you talk about this movie without talking about fucking Talkin, man? This Talkin, I didn't know was a real band for years, even though I obviously heard, Dream Warriors, and I don't remember hearing Into the Fire until like the later DVD release. Watching on tape, I don't think they had that song in there. I don't remember totally. That was many, many years ago. But I just thought it was like, yeah, I don't know, they wrote whoever's in charge of the music wrote a song and had people sing it. But that song has been stuck in my head since like 1995, when I was a wee pup. Terrific. George Lynch, incredible guitar player. Don Dokken, at the time, was a great singer. Not so much now. And I don't remember quite how it went. But in the Never Sleep Again documentary, he talks about kind of his version of the song. And I just got to thank fuck that wasn't the final cut, because that song wouldn't be nearly as memorable for, at least not for the right reasons. What the hell was it? Let me see. Now, I can't remember it. And I'm not going to sing it for you because, one, I'm selfish, and two, I'm very self-conscious. About singing anyway. But I think, as I said earlier, I think Kill the Movie is going to go to the marionette kill. It's just incredible. It's incredible looking, the way that they got it done. Just kind of on top of the fact, the kill itself, having the other characters kind of just watch this kid get thrown off the fucking top of the hospital, they kind of pulls at your heart a little bit, because like they've definitely gotten close being in the same ward together for however long it's actually been for them. So I think emotionally as well as visually, that's got to be the kill of the movie. And then, I mean, I haven't talked about him yet, but I kind of been saving the best for last, because MVP of this goddamn movie is Ken Sagos as Kincaid. He's, I think, hands down my favorite character in any horror movie I've ever seen. Outside of Freddy, outside of kind of like the kind of slash, like outside of the killers, basically. Kincaid's a badass, big, strong, black dude, fucking mouthy. Kruger, pussy. He's fucking cool. He's just like the epitome of cool to me as a kid was Kincaid. It didn't get any better than that, and really, as an adult, I still don't think it gets much better. So as far as that goes, but yeah, man, that's my shitty fat guy review of Nightmare on Elm Street 3: The Dream Warriors. Let me know below what you think about this movie. Is it your favorite of the franchise? Do you think it went too far with some of the more humorous elements? Was it kind of the perfect blend? Like I said, let me know what you think down below. Don't be afraid to leave 8, 9, 10 comments apiece. I don't care. But with that, I do want to give a shout out and a huge thank you to all of my patrons: Hazelnut Devon Graham, Christian Hannah Horror, S'mores Indoors, Nick Ridza, Jay the Stingray, Jess Graham, Cornelius Collection, Orc 145626, and Daniel Shine. That's all for me today, folks. And always remember, Iris loves you.